VR says lowest rated Dynamite and maybe lowest attended Dynamite ever. Yeah, that's true. They were in Spokane. I think they had like less than 2,000. They're lucky they got the guarantee money now because sheesh, they can only be carried by good PPVs and matches for so long.
Yes, they can be carried forever. Like that's people. See, what I'm talking about? That's grifter talk. Like VR, I appreciate you saying that, but I mean, like, what does that mean? They're funded by a billionaire. He can run that thing until forever, until he's just bored.
It didn't need to make money, but it absolutely is now. Yeah, it absolutely is. We just hope that it gets better because we're big fans.
Right? You can G-shit all you want, but I mean, like, we just talked about WCW. It's the same thing. Like, we're right now kind of in the doldrums of WCW phase.
Yeah.
Right. They pulled themselves out. I think AEW can too, but I mean, I think Tony needs to come to Jesus meeting and needs to fire R.D. Evans and Jimmy Jacobs and all these other dorks.
Well, and I think maybe Tony is probably booked for too long.
That's just
every booker goes through that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they just got to hand over the book for a while.
And that's the problem is Tony is a rich kid who doesn't like to take accountability.
Yeah.
Right. We've talked about that for years. And here's the problem. Who does he hand it off to? None of these other guys have proven to me that they can book.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure Jeff Jarrett's sitting there like, I can do reverse battle royal, boss. You know, I'm sure he's wanting to take it over.
Jeff didn't even book TNA. He just booked himself. Like Jeff was the guy hiring Vince Russo. It's the last guy I want making decisions. Like,
Jeff will bring in Dutch Mantel or some shit, you know.
Oh God. Like, I don't know. I don't trust. I mean, like, who's the best mind they have over there right now? I mean, I don't know.
The only successful booker in the company is Tony, so that's probably why he's still booking.
That's the problem. I mean, maybe Will Washington, if given an opportunity, he seems to be all right. Peppermint is actually, I was hard on her earlier, but it seems like her stuff typically is okay. But she's got that WWE brain. I don't want her in charge. Like, I do think they need. I just don't think Tony is secure enough in himself to say, I need to take a step back and hand this off. Because it takes someone very secure in themselves creatively and foundationally to say, I need to step back and hand it off to the right people. Because if he hands it off to Jimmy Jacobs, we're screwed. If he hands it off to R.D. freaking Evans, then we're totally screwed. So,
Hassan says the Elite were booking well at the start of AEW. Really? Were they really? They were booking. Some of their stuff was pretty fun, but they had never booked television shows before. So, and they were just doing jack off shit, getting their friends on TV.
Need I remind everybody of the famous Dark Order thing in December of 2019 that led Tony to go, I'm booking the entire company. No, the Elite shouldn't book shit. Like they prove they are not creative to do to book a television show.
Yeah. Chris Hero books West Coast Pro.
Chris Hero's in the room.
Yeah. Chris Hero's there. He already works there. But you know, at the end of the day, everything's Tony's decision. So, so we can't, it's like, I know we like to blame Jacobs. We like to blame Evans and all these other guys, but at the end of the day, the guy that's saying yes or no is Tony Khan. The buck stops with him.
Mm-hmm. So that's why the Vince stuff is like, no matter who wrote for WWE, it was still a Vince-based show. That's why I'm saying Tony should do what a lot of like territory, like Lawler and Jerry Jarrett would like hot swap the book, right? Every 6 months. And they bring in like Dundee would have the book and Lawler would have the book.
Well,
Jarrett would
have and then like Bill Watts would bring in Bill Dundee from Memphis to come in and book for a little bit, right? And then like, you know, they would swap them around because just to kind of jumpstart things.
Ernie Ladd, Buck Robley, Eddie Gilbert, like they were always bringing in different guys to book Mid-South, UWF Mid-South. Like that's just the way it went. Like you need a fresh idea in there. And right now, I don't feel like we have enough fresh ideas, right? I think somebody new should come in and do something different. I don't know.
I advertised this, so we're going to deliver. We're going to preview the AEW WrestleDream 2024 card. Coming up this Saturday from the Tacoma Dome. On 0 Hour, Ring of Honor World Television Championship, Atlantis Jr. versus Brian Cage.
That should be fun.
Yeah, should be fun.
Brian Cage is a good base, and Atlantis Jr. does some cool stuff, so it should be a cool lucha style match.
Yeah. And I think Atlantis Jr. retains. Nobody really cares about the TV championship for ROH, so just let Atlantis have it. Probably the match of the night, the one that everybody's most excited about, MxM Collection versus the Acclaimed. Probably match of the year candidate here is what we're thinking. Probably four banger, 4, 4, 5, something like that.
I'm sorry, I took my headphones off when you announced the match because I don't want to discuss it.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion of this match is who gives a shit?
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. Darby Allin versus Brody King. Now this should fucking rule.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. I love this. Is gonna be fun. Every time these two wrestle, it's great. It's bloody. It's violent. It's two of my favorite wrestlers in the company right now. I assume Darby wins. He's been because he looked like a chump losing to Moxley, and they got to give him a little bit of steam back. And I'd like to see Brody King do something else, but get a little bit of a push. But someone's got to lose.
Yeah, I mean, Brody King's like still part of the trio there with Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews. So like I don't see him getting a singles push anytime soon. So this is very clearly like this is just a good guy that Darby has matches with that he's known forever, and they're in Tacoma. So let's just go out there and fucking tear the house down. And Darby's probably gonna attempt to kill himself. So it should be fun.
Could happen, of course.
Yeah. Best 2 out of 3 falls. This should be awesome. Hologram versus the Beast Mortos, Black Taurus. I mean that there's literally I'm sure they're having a feud, and I'm sure the feud is great. This whole match is just because I like my flippy shit. Let's just have it.
I said Cage is a good base, but I almost call him Black Taurus. Beast Mortos is the best base in pro wrestling, and Hologram is I don't know if I call him a star yet, but he's over with the AEW fan base. Like it's working. Like I think him getting a chance to do something cool on a pay-per-view could have a real big impact. This kind of reminds me of those WCW Lucha matches on pay-per-view in the mid-90s, right? That were always awesome and made some stars. So hopefully hopefully Hologram can become that Rey Mysterio-esque guy here.
Yeah, it's like Juventud versus Silver King. I don't know if I need it, but I definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm entertained. Awesome. I like wrestling, so I'm good.
Yeah. Then we go to Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White. Man, for some reason I smell a bad finish coming in that match.
It's Jay White. Of course there is. I assume Swerve's going to come back.
I guess Jay White now a babyface. People haven't treated him like a babyface, but he's now a babyface, by the way.
Sure.
Hangman's the heel in the feud.
Sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lukewarm on this. I've not been a fan of the Jay White AEW run. I've not been a fan of Jay White. I didn't like the Jay White New Japan stuff toward the end either. So I don't know. I'm cold on this. I think Swerve comes back and we get more Swerve and Hangman antics.
What more could they do to each other?
Yeah, one of them's still alive, so we have a literal death match.
Yeah, they're gonna have a literal death match. Maybe they'll stick him in a cabin in the woods, and they'll give him like a book from the basement, and they'll have to read out of this demonic book. And then the person that loses gets possessed by the devil, and the other person is fucking Bruce Campbell.
Another Necronomicon Ex Mortis match. That's not dumber than anything Robert R.D. Evans is throwing around in the meetings right now.
Yeah. Sorry, if you kids don't know what I was talking about, that was an Evil Dead reference, by the way. Yeah.
Swallow your soul.
Yeah, swallow your soul. A chick gets really messed up by a tree in that movie, by the way.
That does happen.
Yeah.
That does happen. The first Evil Dead is a weird movie.
Weird. Very weird. I think everybody should go out of the way to watch it. It's Halloween time, folks.
You should.
And it's fresh in my brain because I literally just watched it because I was like, I haven't seen this movie in over 20 years. Let me check it out.
Andy, we watched Army of Darkness over the summer, and he wants to watch it again. He loved Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
It's a great starter horror movie, quite frankly.
Yeah. Dobby the Brain Heenan says Swerve seems down with Hangman for now. Seems done with Hangman for now, since he's got a feud with the ex-WWE Syndicate. That makes sense. Yeah, that's a good point. Rich has a great question. Hey, Rich, are you guys Hall of Fame voters? Rich, obviously just now tuning in.
Thanks, boss.
Yeah. We did a whole segment. Plus, we are slurping ourselves with our titles here. Clearly we're we're Hall of Fame voters, and we're proud of it. Ring of Honor World Championship: Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho.
That'd be fun, I guess. I don't know. Jericho's antics leave me cold, but he's over. I can't argue the guy's over. Mark Briscoe is like my favorite babyface in wrestling right now. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I think Mark Briscoe retains because Chris did bring up his brother in the lead up to the match. I was like, okay, he went there. So Mark has to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rich is like, you should make it more clear. It's like yeah, I think we're Vince McMahon, like WWE television clear on what our titles are now.
It's the bit, man. It's the bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely more clear than Title Tuesday, apparently.
So we had this bit planned for last week when it was fresh, and we didn't get to do it because we didn't do our show. So we had to like stick to the bit for at least a week.
Yeah. we're committed to it at this point.
Yeah.
So I think Briscoe has to retain. I don't think the match is going to be all that bad, although I've been cold on Jericho this year.
Yeah,
but I do got to say something about Chris Jericho. So MVP is now in the company, and MVP did knock him out on a boat. And MVP signs, and one of the first things he does, and he goes to Chris Jericho. They squash it, and now they want to do business together. Somebody tell that story to the Young Bucks. Okay. Mm-hmm. You guys can fight and then still go make money together. It's pro wrestling, you sissies. It's pro wrestling.
I think that's man shit from MVP. That's man shit. That's what a man does.
Yeah. And to Chris Jericho too. Chris Jericho got knocked out, right? And he's just like, fuck it, let's do business. Mm-hmm. It's like fights happen. And he did the same thing when he was in WWE with who was the guy that knocked him out on the bus? The Sin Cara 2. Sin Cara 2 knocked him out on the bus one time. Yeah. They got into a fight and then they just squashed it immediately. No big deal. He got into a fight with Brock Lesnar and they squashed it. They did business together after they had a match.
There's a common thread. There's a common thread in a lot of these things. Kind of
Chris
Jericho's a fucking asshole.
He is. He seems to get in a lot of fights, but people like him, so they squash it and they end up doing business.
He's like that guy you kind of like, but he's really fucking irritating. So you got to punch him every now and then. So it does.
Probably when he gets a little bit of the clear, vodka medicine that he likes to take sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, but I just wanted to say kudos to MVP and Chris Jericho for doing business, and somebody go tell the Young Bucks that story. Maybe they'll get over themselves a little bit and stop being passive aggressive little shits. They jacked up the company for a whole year. Anyway, I mean there are other players involved, but they could have just squashed it. So, anyway, AEW TNT Championship: Jack Perry versus Katsuyori Shibata. I hate this match, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
Shibata's losing, and I love Shibata.
Oh, fair. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It'll be a fun match. I actually really enjoy both these two as wrestlers. I think it'll be a fun match. I really like the Jack Perry heel run. I think it's been a low-key fun element of AEW this year. I think he's a great heel. I really do.
He's a great little undercard heel guy.
He's unlikable. Yeah. This version of Jack Perry is completely unlikable.
Yeah, he's a little shit at the bottom of the card. Give him a nonsensical title like the TNT title. Let him have fun.
It's perfect.
That's where I like him. Just keep him out of my main events. Yeah, that's all I ask.
He's been great.
Yeah. But yeah, Jack Perry's definitely winning that one. Unfortunately, they got no respect for Shibata. AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks versus, for some fucking reason, Private Party.
Okay.
Yeah, they beat Bear Bronson and the other Bear guy, and now they have a title shot. So there we go. And also, they did defeat, in their defense, 5 years ago. They did get a win over the Young Bucks. So
remember when we had rankings and like they had to like justify things in this company, and now they say, "Well, you just wrestle the Iron Savages, and the winner gets a title match." It's just whatever. You don't care. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why they got rid of the rankings because they, obviously can't buck around them.
People Young Bucks on Twitter and cried every time they put rankings up. It doesn't make sense because a bunch of dumbass wrestling fans who never watch a fucking sport in their life would just cry about it. Who never actually saw a college football ranking or an MMA ranking. So, why is he number 5? It doesn't make sense. Not realizing that people get title shots who aren't number 1 contenders all the time, but you fucking nerds never watch sports.
Yeah, people that don't understand the rankings, like they're at the urinal and they pee with their pants all the way down to their ankles. They're weird. It's like I just don't like them.
I saw a guy doing that at a wrestling show once, and I didn't know what to make of it.
AEW International Championship: Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Konosuke Takeshita. I mean, clearly this is Oscar bait right here. What I mean by that is, it's just these guys. Like, hey, Dave Meltzer, what is your checklist? What is your criteria for a 5-star? All right, we're doing that. Let's go, baby. It's actually going to be freaking awesome, clearly.
I wish, I you know me, man. I typically don't like 3-ways. but I like all these guys a lot. So,
Yeah.
so I'm okay with it. It's gonna be pretty awesome.
I mean, who gets the dub though? I mean,
I mean, my gut is Ospreay, but I guess you go to Takeshita and do a Takeshita Ospreay thing for a minute. I don't know. That could work.
Yeah, because they did the whole schmoz with Ricochet because they didn't want to pin Ricochet yet. They didn't want to pin Ospreay either, so they did the whole schmoz thing. And Grand Slam with Takeshita, and now they have all three of them, and none of these guys need to be losing right now, so it's just kind of weird. So clearly, there's gonna be some fuckery in the match.
Somebody's got to lose. I always say these guys can't lose right now, but people got to lose matches. Like we got to have matches with stakes, and stakes involve people losing.
Can we just be honest about Ricochet? He's not going to be your world champion. Just beat the motherfucker. Let him do his flippy shit and beat his ass.
Right.
He's a good wrestler. Don't get me wrong. I like Ricochet, but he loses. That's what he does.
Prince Puma days are over.
Yeah, you don't need to protect him. Just let him get some. He'll get some wins over fucking Roderick Strong and idiots like that. But he's in there with Takeshita and Ospreay, who is actually going to make you some money. That's who needs to go over in the match, not Ricochet. No offense, Ricochet. All right. AEW Women's World Championship, Mariah May versus Willow Nightingale. Mariah May definitely taking this one, I think.
I like Willow. I think she's their best babyface from the women's division, but I don't see Mariah May losing yet. I don't know what the plan is for Mariah May. I mean, I imagine another Toni Storm match in the future, but it's fine. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
And then in the main event, Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. This is really the only outcome of any of the matches on here that I'm actually interested in, because Danielson's working this. I'm beaten. I'm old. I'm tired. He like Ron Wright from Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He needs to take his heart pills before each match, and he's gonna be willed out there. You know who else used to do that was Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz would lose. He's like, I got a fractured skull. I got a broken neck. 2 broke knees. I barely made it to the match. He would do that. That's kind of like Danielson's gimmick right now, but he is telling everybody he doesn't want to wrestle anymore, but here he is. He's going to put out another banger in the main event. I'm curious to see who wins.
I think it's Mox's time. Like, we're all Moxley fans. I think he's got the most interesting character in pro wrestling now. And I think you have to strike with this immediately before it cools. And I don't think he can afford to lose. And Danielson is kind of banged up. And I think if Moxley wins, you could always go back to him versus Danielson later. Yeah. I think again, whenever this company has problems, they put the title on Moxley, and I think it's time to break glass and put that belt back on Jon Moxley.
I completely agree.
Love that.
Yeah. I think Moxley wins, and then Danielson, who one of his heroes also happens to be Terry Funk, retires for a little bit, and we'll see him in 2025. I think.
Of course.
I don't think anybody's buying this retirement. And I really don't buy that he's like, I'm sure he's banged up a little bit, but I don't think he's banged up to where he can't wrestle anymore. I think he's just kind of playing that off clearly.
He's a professional liar, and he's good at it. So, he can keep lying to me.